Yo, you know poetry dropping when the pen clicks? Cause poets get it popping with the pen click. You are now rocking with Kuya David, the prime poetry prime minister, and of course, the God, Daniel Hees, the podcast prince. And we are blessed with the presence of the freedom of speech fighter who will send a capoeira kick across the face as powerful as his poetry. We got Charles Wiliams. Let's get it.
I'm going in. Off the top, blazing trails covered in braille, let my feet do the talking. Actions speak louder than words, Stephen Hawkins. I'm going in like an oral surgeon, drilling in fill-ins, life cavities being filled in, no Novocaine so you could feel what I'm feeling. I'm going in like Dr. Gavorkian, assisting you with the suicide that you've been wishing for because of your deteriorating condition. But I can see that you're ready to soar beyond your sour disposition and taste the sweetness of non-resisting, the joy of humble surrendering. I'm going in like electrodes underneath the skin, vibrating at maximum acceleration, generating a reinvigorating sensation, heart palpitating fast in the F1 McLaren, wearing gasoline draws, great balls of fire sweltering that they're swearing my name Charles, going in with no restraints, mute out insipid complaints, ready to break through titanium plates, ready to fail and make mistakes, ready to sail and raise the stakes, risk it all, rise and fall and take whatever awaits. And if I have to beat it like Michael, then I'ma go psycho like Norman Bates, the prototype to lead revolutionary revolts and jailbreaks. And for heaven's sakes, even if I am forsaken, I'll carry those weights, lift the barrels of hate and bear the load of Satan. Now here's the kicker, since all our fates intertwined in hell, I'll find time to break in, rearranging any situation we facing to be facing grace. That's amazing. I'm going in like a deep sea diver, swimming with sharks, a survivor who knows it takes more than heart to stand stark in contrast, to stand apart when guns blast, still find my mark and outlast the doubt that hides in the darkness outcast, rearranging weather patterns like harp, Fibonacci sequence obsequious with mass, special ed in my own class, sharp. I'm going in, leaving my mark like a heat rash. I'm going in like I haven't eaten in weeks, digging through the streets trash. I'm going like boom, two cars collided in a car crash. I'm going in like Ali, thought swift like a butterfly, words be like a bee and sting. I'm going in like king to let freedom ring. I'm going in like Obama with change will only be a slogan but a permanent direction. I'm going in like Jesus disqualifying original sin for us to see the God within. I'm going in, cause see, even if I lose, even if you lose, even if we lose, y'all, we still win, because this life is more than just about a prize. It's about the lessons, the missions, the blessings, and since all of us are destined to access that light and love nestling within our person, so therefore I'm recommending for our spiritual growth and transcending before our ascension that we all go in.
Hey, bless the God, bless the God. My boy, Poetry Familia. Charles Wiliams in the cuts.
Yo, thank you for having me, y'all.
Bless.
On this lovely day, rocking out with y'all, doing some poetry.
Welcome to the pen click, man.
Yeah, man. I love this, man. I love seeing y'all two getting together and putting this lovely podcast together.
Shout out to the guy who pretty much invented the pen click. He linked us together. He linked us because I was trying to have like a poetry clash, like a poetry slam one-on-one versus Alex Alfaro, trying to hook him up with an opponent. And then I was like hitting up Charles Wiliams, like, yo, like, do you got anyone on deck? Like, oh yeah, like Daniel Hees, like he got them bars on deck. I'm like, all right. And then, a year and a half later or so.
Yeah, word.
Pen click, gang.
Yeah. That's how it goes. Yeah, bless. Thank you, man.
Yeah, man.
A lot of why we here is because of you.
Oh, thank you, brother.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate both of y'all too, man. This is beautiful.
That was fire. One of my favorite pieces by Charles.
Thank you, brother.
A reminder, to all of us that life is life. You know what I'm saying? The journey is the mission. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Inner reality is a reflection of your outer reality, man. So if you want to get things resolved or solved, you need to really go in and see that inside, what's going on inside, man.
Bless.
Yeah.
And for the listeners at home, the first segment we do on the show is Threads and Lines.
This is all first verse. You about to get this work.
So me and Kuya over here pulled a couple of lines from the piece that Charles just read going in. Again, one of my favorites. I've heard it a bunch. I always love hearing it. So we're going to break down a little bit of what makes up the poem individually, like on the micro level, if you will.
Facts. Because we got to find like the threads of life experience that forged each line of poetry.
Yes.
And with that, may I start, sir?
Yeah, get it,
facts.
Kuya.
All right,
Bless.
off top, when did you write this poem? Because it's like, like the rhyming style was like super popping in the slam scene in like 2000s, but you rarely see that these days. Like at what point did you write this?
Maybe like about 3 years ago, man.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
'Cause that's so well practiced, and we already saw that like on YouTube. So like, yo, he's out there on the internet. Y'all know what it is.
Check it out.
Facts. But so you wrote that 3 years, and what sparked it? Because it's a very, it sounds like a very self-motivational kind of thing where like you're trying to like write something to give yourself help and give yourself some hope.
I'd say the inspiration of that is like, so just real quick though, man, just got my master's in spiritual psychology, right?
Hey, bless the God.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Keep it 120.
Keep it 120. So a lot of that work really, man, a lot of that work is that be able to do the work on yourself, right? Yeah, you know, to heal, to really come into your authenticity, to understand if there are any old patterns or things that need to be released, you know, to really take a look at yourself, man, you know, so that, you know, whatever you're putting out there needs to know is what's happening on what's on the inside. So a lot of that writing, if anyways, was, this is what's happening with me, but also realizing that whatever's happening with me is also happening with other people as well too, because we're not separate. We might be individuals, but as a collective whole, I mean, we all have something that we call our life experience. We all have emotions. We all have feelings, you know, how do we deal with things? So yeah, it started with me, but I knew that connection, like, you know, like we all got to go in, you know, and some people may not get in this lifetime, but you know, one thing I do realize, like, you can lie to other people, but you can't lie to yourself. You can't hide from you. So
Facts.
yeah.
And that's one of like my favorite things about poetry, at least my work, is I do hold myself accountable through my work a lot, and through trying to teach others or inspire others. You find yourself reminding yourself, even whenever you don't realize you need it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that is one of my favorite parts about the arts in general, is as artists, we are holding ourselves accountable to something that we do have inside, and through us trying to actualize that, hopefully we're inspiring the same in other people. You feel me?
Yeah, I feel that, man.
That's fire. There's a part in there that I really, dealing with the Jesus struggles, you know what I'm saying? We see you, white Jesus. We see you. I see you. There's a line in there that talks about Jesus disqualifying original sin. And you go on to talk about essentially realizing the God within ourselves.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what I associate with you. That's a lot of what you've brought to my life and stuff like that. How has spirituality, I mean, having this master's, but how has spirituality and Jesus and these things affected your work and as a whole?
A lot, bro.
Yeah, word. That's kind of a big question.
No. A lot in the sense of saying, like, if, you know, we all have our process of growth, right?
Yeah, word.
And we all know what we might have been 5 years ago or wherever we might have been, you know, beforehand. But in terms, like, yo, real quick, man, it's real quick story on this one. So when I talk about this, more like talking about like Christ consciousness.
Hey,
you know what I'm
right.
saying? Yeah.
Shout out to like Joey Badass. You got something like that?
Yeah,
Bless the
man.
God.
You know, because I think a lot of times we might get caught up in the figure itself, and even on a biblical point, even in the Bible, so just say, follow me, like, you know, that's going to show you the path or steps to take, you know, and I feel religion, if anything, is just guides to help you get to a stronger connection with your spirituality, not within the dogma within itself. You know, a lot of people get caught up in the dogma, and then it becomes a whole different game.
But I had the thought recently that Christ comes, right, and abolishes original sin, and you even mentioned original sin. And I had the thought recently through like Hindu study, what if ego is original sin? What if thinking you matter essentially is original sin, when in the scale of things you don't, when in the community matters, your community matters, and you matter as a part of that. But what if original sin essentially is just ego? You know what I'm saying? That is the thing we're trying to escape. That is the thing we're fighting about. That is the devil. That is the incarnation of the worst of us, as to where undeniably there is a God inside of us.
To add on to that, though, like, ego is also essentially a characteristic that only humans have, and the whole like self-realization that like I am an individual, that's also intrinsically part of ego, like where ego is like awareness of self and I matter, It's like that's a very human thing. So while it might be original sin, it's like without that though, without an ego, like we wouldn't really have like a self-realization. We'd just be another one of the animals.
The Christ that I worship, the Jesus figure that I keep in my heart and mind, that is what he came to abolish. Individual ego, individual like existence. Your existence as a whole is more important than your existence individually.
Yeah.
Let's get the chop and the fable.
Chop the
Get
fable.
the chop and the fable.
So in regards to, let's say, ego, start from ego standpoint. Ego is needed.
Word.
Right?
100.
So,
Yeah.
but like with anything, it's finding a balance. Yes, ego is needed to a certain extent, right? I even say, even to a certain extent, being selfish is all right to a certain extent, right? Because, certain things we need to hold on so that we can, in order to grow, right? But it's also being selfless. So it's really, at the end of the day, it's like, how do we
help anybody?
Yeah. How do we find that balance, right?
Word.
So one doesn't override the other. And then another thing too, even a biblical standpoint, like one line I like, Jesus was like, yo, they know not what they do. Right.
Word.
So it's like,
forgive them.
So it's like, and even in myself, man. So, those times or those moments where, I wouldn't say doing things out of character, but if I act like, can I curse?
Yeah, you're good. Say whatever you want.
All right.
Hey, yo, bitch ass poets that rhyme bullshit and just like doing it for the snaps and claps and trying to be a YouTube star without even putting in the work on the open mic. Fuck y'all. Ass.
Get it.
Yeah,
That's my boy.
Yeah, man. Like,
Click gang, what?
Yeah, man. My asshole tendencies come out, or
word.
I'm shitty to people. Is be able to come back and reflect upon that and take the accountability in those actions, right?
Well, let me ask you this then, because we've talked about like your process and your spirituality and these things. Do you think that poetry specifically helps keep you accountable and helps keep you balanced with your ego? And do you think that your poetry is informing your ego, or your ego is informing your poetry, or do you think they're balancing each other?
I think they're balancing each other. And I'd say at first, if in anything, like writing within itself was a release to me, right?
Word.
So it was cathartic. It was healing. It was my therapist. On all different levels. Even those moments when I just wanted to write about. It's funny. I was reading the old piece to my girl, and it was about me basically, getting a whole grip of girls, and she's like, what I'm saying? She was
we
like,
all got them.
Yeah,
we all got play poems.
Yeah, but in that
we
moment,
got those pieces you read, two girls, two get play.
Yeah. I'll lay it down, what I'm saying? Like, I know I lay it down, but I
can neither confirm nor deny what they're talking about. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, I'm married now. That's behind me.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but even you married, it's like, yo, I'm still that good lover. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
So, and
just want to see if you still got the juice and all that.
Yeah, but still got it. You can write it, but like having that platform to be able to use that, other than just going out just spitting it, just all uncautiously, like, yo, I'm doing you're kind of reckless right now. You know what I mean?
Word.
So at least it gave me a little safe space. If I want to talk about what I want to talk about, it's there. And if it's time, or if I want to go out there and put it out there, I could do that as well too. Because the one thing about writing, or if anything, man, it's all energy. So it's going to connect to somebody, whether positively or negatively, but it's still that connection, and at least that release of energy, so it doesn't become compartmentalized or stored. Because I even use that with the clients too. Use for writing therapy. So it's poetry. You could just go whatever you want to write. You safe. You have a safe place to do it. Nobody's going to judge you. Nobody's critiquing. Is this a correct paragraph? Is your sentence structure okay? Is your verb noun agree? All that. Like, just write how you want to write. Make up some words if you feel like it.
And that's the dope benefit. That's the benefit of spoken word and free verse poetry as a whole. It is interesting though too, because I think as a writer myself, you do have those pieces that you write to humble yourself. Yeah. Like, you do have those pieces where it's like, oh damn, I'm writing that to hold myself accountable. But you do have those pieces where it's like, no, I just need to hype myself up. I need to feel pretty. I need to feel like I lay pipe, because I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do. Yeah. It works both ways with the ego. It works. You know what I'm saying? There's a spectrum and a balance to all of this. Nothing is polarized. Nothing is black or white. Everything is fluid and kind of fucking with each other and bumping into each other and enforcing each other. So that's dope. That's interesting. Yeah. That's how it goes, though. That's the evolution of art.
Speaking of original.
Bless God. OG, triple OG.
Triple OG.
For the listeners, for Charles, for Kuya, for everybody at home. We moving on to the next segment, the two-piece combo.
Two-piece combo!
So we can give you a little bit of flavor on the YouTube and a little bit of flavor on social media. We're going to watch a video from YouTube. It is by super triple OG.
The original Adam of spoken word slam.
The first slam poet,
Yes,
essentially.
sir.
Yeah.
Mark Smith, he essentially started the entire slam movement at the Green Mill Cocktail Lounge in Chicago, Illinois. So for the listeners at home, for the people that don't know, Mark Smith was a poet that was hosting open mics and wanted to find a way to get more people into the building, essentially.
Yep.
How do we gain some excitement? How do we garner some excitement for poetry? And it came to him, slams.
But remember that the points are not the points. The point is the poetry. The
poetry is
the way
the
Mark
point.
Kelly Smith actually wrote about it is that it's like, listen, like this is not supposed to be like a serious competition. Shout out to Nationals. This is not supposed to be a serious competition.
Word.
It's just supposed to like create drama.
Excitement.
Yeah, create drama for the audience. It's like, oh, is this guy gonna win? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Poetry.
Yeah, word. So that's kind of the short history of Mark Smith. You can go online. The piece that we're reading is him at the Green Mill Cocktail Lounge. Yeah, Mark Kelly Smith at the Green Mill Cocktail Lounge in Chicago, Illinois. Go on YouTube and check that out. You can pause this. You could come back. You can just not watch it at all and just fucking take our opinion and our word for it. We're going to take a little break and watch it right now and come back with some notes.
Yeah.
Get it.
Yeah, so off the rip, I want to say like it's really because like of where we are in the modern era of the slam and like how a lot of people kind of sound the same, but that's just like generational waves and all that. Like, but how different his poetry is, like how it comes from a more literary background of like it's like a very slice of life kind of thing as opposed to like a very over the head narrative, curb stomp your face with this point like, yo, this is about like fucking politics, this is about getting your heart broken, like Mark Kelly Smith does that whole old school style of, yo, this is what it was like to ride a train, and just like that slice of life, you could put whatever meaning you want into it, you could interpret it however you want it. And his narrative style, it's not super dense with metaphor like page poetry, literary poetry is. Like he translated that to a performance aspect, and the way he did it with like the rhythm changes.
And the rhythm
I like
changes
that.
are
And the
fire.
way he did it with it, like the level change, like the way he whispered it out.
Yeah.
Just like how the smoke like from a train like wisps out like fire.
Word.
I would have gave that, like if I saw that today, I would have gave that a 10. But at the same time, like I don't know if I was at like a slam where every poet was like him, I don't know, because it's so novel. It's such a novelty to us in the modern era of slam. It's like it's so different, and like the way he did it was perfectly executed. But without that novelty, like it's really hard for me to hear it with fresh ears like that.
Yeah.
Word. And you mentioned one thing that I really liked was his cadence through the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
so for the listener, if you don't want to listen to it, it's a train piece. It's about a train. And he has that very nice, like, building train feeling. Like, that the sound of a train leaving a station is very distinct. And we all know what that rhythm is and what that feels like. And he emulates that well. And then at one point, he goes on to say, train men, brain men, engineers, gears, bodies, the broken minds, the wheels whine, the whistle howls. And like the way that he performs that and on paper, it's two separate fucking things. Like I typed that out because I was like, oh, that's fire. Like the cadence of that and the actual meaning, train men, brain men, engineers, gears, bodies, the broken minds, the wheels whine, the whistles howl. And then you write it and you see it and it's a completely different thing. And like his cadence is so fire, you kind of feel like we're at like a World War right there, like the train's fucking moving. And that line really took me out of the world essentially and into this world. Like, oh damn, this is and that's kind of the thing that I feel like spoken word's missing a bit of. We're not transporting people enough anymore. This piece took me to a train. And
it's not relying on emotion like a lot of slam pieces are today.
Word. And like
it's really like painting
on your heart.
Well, the emotion's second, right? So the experience, I'm on the train first and then we're on the train and we're trying to figure out what this poem's about. Like, oh, you took me there and now what does this mean to me? Because you took me there. I'm there either fucking way. Like I can't get off the train now. You just took me to this magical train. So what is this about?
Shout out to Hogwarts.
What is the point of this? Like, why am I on this train now? And that's kind of the one thing that I feel is kind of lacking in the spoken word scene, is that like transportive, like storytelling narrative, like, all right, I'm going to take you somewhere and then I'm going to leave that place up to your interpretation. That's kind of the brilliance of poetry. That's why poetry helps with like us as a whole and paradigms and all of those things. It makes us think critically by taking us somewhere. And I mean, to hear that from like the triple OG.
Out of 10? Out of 10?
Out of 10, if I saw this, I would probably give it a 9. I'm not going to give it like a 10 out the bars. There could have been a little bit more of a direction. But I did get it. Like, for me, I felt like this was, as opposed to like the big train metaphor, which you hear a lot, which is like, we're all on the track, we're all on the train. It was definitely like some individualist shit. Like, no, we are all this hodgepodge of tracks and trains, and we are all on some track, and we are all going to here or there or here or there or here or there.
And it was only 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it's all these intersecting.
120 seconds.
Yeah, right.
Keep it 120, God. Keep that third eye open. You know what I'm saying? Reach for that 7, God.
But yeah, instead of like the normal train metaphor, it was like, no, we all trains and we all, and that kind of adds or lends itself to the calamity of life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if you think of life as we are all individual trains on individual tracks, that's a cluttered, messy fucking railway system. You know what I'm saying?
Mr. Charles, out of 10.
Out of 10. So, you guys had me thinking real quick. Now, do I judge it in 10 during his time period?
Word.
Right, facts.
Or, comparative to now. But if I did see that now and comparative to what, you might see, I might, like what Daniel said, might be a 9 or a 10.
That's what I'm saying. The God.
Yeah. And
classic.
I think it might also, like growing up in New York too, being on the subways and you see like old man, spitting on the floor, like that shit you would see, or people being crazy or whatever it might be. Like, we're all on those tracks together, whatever time that experience. So I think that's what you said with a good story, like how you can connect to the story, what is there something personal that author or writer has conveyed within their message. So that's why when I was listening to it, it's like, all right, I feel that. Like, yeah. So on a personal tip, he would get high points for that. You get points for his style, like you said, the cadence that was real big. I noticed like there was that varial, wasn't all the same tone. Also, it was subtle but straight at you as well too. Wasn't like what you're saying, like, right. I'm gonna talk about this and this is what I'm talking about. It was like, nah, I'm telling the story. Follow along, So
I like how you said subtle because like I that just reminded me how like poets these days they will do like a rhythm change, but it's like always in the most obvious way, like I'm gonna be spitting real fast like my grind boy at 140 BPM, and then let it breathe, and I'm gonna be really sad about this shit. It's like so bait, bro. Hell of bait. It's like dead ass. But then with Man's over there, it's like when you're saying subtlety, it's like, yo, this is a fine cuisine plate that he's serving us right now, as opposed to just like ham-fisted, fistfuls of seasoning on top of like a cheap 80-cent slice of pizza that you got at the frozen food section. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like he's really taking the craft and time to be subtle, and every word and every syllable at the rate he says is measured.
Word.
It's like when somebody said like, that person's acting. Like when you could tell like they're acting, like how you said, you could see, you see that change, like that was intentional.
That's contrived.
Yeah, contrived. Where it was just like that just seemed like natural, You'd be like that. Then we'd be like, yo, that's a good actor. You know what I mean? Like, And
he also I like how you mentioned the subtlety, but because of the subtlety, it leaves the whole story open interpretation.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like in the modern era, the train would have crashed. You feel me? Like they would have concluded this journey. They would have been
over
like
here with those script rewrites.
Yeah, like that's what would have happened in this world. It would have been like some context of like the train crashed, or we got to the station and nobody was there to pick me up, or like some shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
No,
that's as opposed to Hollywood bastardization.
As opposed to what he did, which was like, and then the train keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going until you can't see it, until you can't hear it, until you think it doesn't exist. It's still fucking going. And where it's going, I don't know. You tell me. That's the point of poetry. You tell me where the train goes. You tell me what happens to the train, as opposed to like we've said again, time and time again. But we see you. We trying to get you there, y'all. There is just this ham-fisted like, nah, this is what you gotta believe. This is the point of my poem, and if you don't get the point of my poem,
fuck you.
Yeah, then fuck off. Yeah. Because this is like, and it's like, no. Like because it was subtle, this is going to get like me to a place that it's not going to get Kuya to, or it's
Yeah.
not going to get Charles to. Like, we're both all going to get something different but similar out of this. And again, one more time, like, if this was written in the modern era, motherfucking train would have crashed. Like, some kind of kitschy, like, snap-worthy fucking...
Question. If he performed that, like, let's say it was, like, nobody knew who he was, and he performed that at, like, a slam night, what do you think people in the audience would have scored him?
The one thing I've found whenever I do like real literary or real like formatted poetry is just goes over the head. Right. Everybody's just like, oh shit, I have to interpret. I can't do that right now, so I'm not going to. And given like in a spoken word environment, that's not
spoon feeding you.
Yeah, and it's not like
narrative.
the best
I kind of
time.
like that though. This is what I like. This face.
Yeah, word. And I had an OG.
Just like, oh shit! Like what did I just get hit with? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've had an
For those
OG
that
tell
are
me,
only
like,
listening, Charles gave us the One
shit
Punch Man.
face.
He gave the One Punch Man blank face. It's the moon face emoji.
Yeah.
And I was told like early on, you're not writing for the people that are going to miss it, because there's going to be one motherfucker in that place that's going to get it, and it's going to impact and change their fucking life.
Yeah.
Question is like if he performed that in the first round, do you think he would have survived to round two?
Nah.
Yeah. Facts.
Nah.
He would got like downvoted out the building.
Maybe on that novelty tip, because like you do see that even at the biggest slam venues, they will get people through just on that novelty tip. Like, and I'm an old man talking about something old men usually don't talk about, or like I'm a funny this, or like, you know what I'm saying?
He might make it to the city qualifiers, but he's
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
knocked out first round of eye whips. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
he ain't going to finals.
All right. Well, speaking of like how far he would get, let's see where hashtag poetry, how far that would get. And we're on Instagram today.
For the little part of the two-piece, the wing, if you will.
Right. So first actual poem that shows up on hashtag poetry. We're not talking about like Instagram thotty models that be like hashtag poetry. My body's a work of art. Nah,
My booty is poetry.
First poem that we got is from account at Cleo Mencheraldo. I'll put some graphics on so you can see
I'm
it.
fucking with that name though.
Right. All right. So the poem goes: your eyes will never find a path for the world here in my mind. It's not a commonplace, full of words and sounds. Together in cadence, my thoughts just dance with so many turnarounds. You can't image the sense they all have to me. So if you want to stay, don't even try to say what I do have to be.
I like to keep things real sunny on my side of the street, but I'm not feeling that at all.
Right. I felt like they put it in like a specific stanza style of writing, and you could see like they're trying to count the syllables, and a lot of it feels kind of shoehorned in.
I feel that.
Like that. That's like they all have to me. So if you try to stay, don't even try to say what I do have to be. It's like what I do have to be doesn't roll off the tongue. You know what I mean? It's like oh,
that doesn't even make sense, G. That's not poetic.
Yo, is that what I do have to be?
Yeah. It feels
Like it's like Tissif dying gone. Like maybe it's a modern.
It's
That's giving her a lot of credit.
This is not no bootleg Elizabethan. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say it one time. This feels like homework. This feels like poetry homework somebody did in their junior college class, and then they were like, "Oh, I got a B. I'm gonna make a meme out of it."
I mean, like, shout out to you, Cleo Mencheraldo, for like trying to go back to like more traditional forms of written poetry and style, but just the cadence of the words, like you could say poetic license as much as you want, but if it doesn't land, it doesn't hit. You know?
Yeah, and like Charles said it for a second, like Shakespeare, bless the God, his shit was bars. That's why he was able to do whatever the fuck he wanted. Yeah. If you write Hamlet, you could do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. But baby girl, like you, and this is a growing exercise.
This is a dude or
you know
a
what I'm
girl?
saying? Yeah, I don't know. They both. You still baby.
Right.
Shout out
to baby girl. You still baby.
Shout out to G. You know what I'm
You
saying?
still, because I see it. Like
that.
I see the growth there. I see like the reaching. I see somebody trying to write something and then executing it and being like, all right. I have plenty of these poems at home in my fucking folder that no one will ever fucking see.
And you're not gonna make an Instagram post about it using an image app that puts text against a very beautiful, lovely, marbleized piece of paper.
Word.
In Courier new font, you know what I'm saying? But And like it's also like you could tell this person's young because
I was thinking the same thing actually. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Because they're like, oh,
what are we thinking? What are you thinking young?
I'm an intellectual.
I was thinking high school, man. You was like you were nice with junior college. I was like,
because in high school that's when you're forming your first opinions and ideas and like, yo, this is so lit to me.
I think yeah, it's a young writer. Somebody's just starting to explore.
Maybe in like IB English, maybe like honors English, but
man, they could be.
But at the same time, maybe
they took a poetry class or it was a poetry assignment.
You are on your path if you are listening to this somehow. Cleo Minstrel, you are on your path, and like there are glimpses of like you're forming something of semblance, and like it's just word choice. That's all. It's and I know probably you're in a rush. You just wanted to get this out within the form, but at the same time, like it is worth your time, and it's worth every poet's time to just like rewrite until something dope comes out. Like most definitely in the song, it's like yo, like sometimes I rewrite 1,000 times and throw it away 1,000 times because it's not there.
Or maybe come back to it. I remember him saying that too. He's like, I'll come back to it, let it wait, and I'll come back and get back on it. Yeah.
Word.
So yeah, with her, I'd say you get an A for effort.
Out of 10.
Yeah, she get an A for effort. Once you know,
but the piece out of 10.
Out of 10, I'll give her a 5.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
5. For me, I'm on the Anthony Fantano scale of like if it's a 5, it's like it's not great, but like I am not angry that I listened to it.
No. We're grading on a there's a scale here. You know what I'm saying? There's
this is not the oversaturated, like hella gassed up slam scale. Nah, we're trying to be fair about it. And I would say 5 is fair.
I would say the only slam I support is slamming people. I just want you to know that.
Shout out to the Capoeira God. even Shaquille O'Neal could get a heel kick to the face.
Yeah, I guess.
A Capoeira kick to the face. Doesn't matter how tall you are.
Because I see a lot of cats come out there hella chest pump like they was this the piece, and somebody pull up a 1 on them or something like that, or like a 2. It's like, and then you just watch that go. Word. I like, hey man, maybe you should just went in to spit the piece someplace else,
a few more times.
Not even in the slam setting. You know what I mean? Word. Like just go someplace where it's not a slam, and you could just do your poetry, and you good. And
I said it once. I'm sure that you could agree, Charles. We got shit like this at home. I got these in my folder. I got those pieces where it's like, man, this is whack. I might come back to this. I might never look at it again.
This reads like a throwaway National Poetry Month piece. It's like
the 30
on 30. Yeah, you're just like here we go, son.
Okay.
Here we go.
But you feel me though? You got some of these at home. You got some of these in your
I've got somewhere I just had it been one line, and I'm like, okay, we good.
Yeah. I love going through my work in progress page because it's like, what the fuck was I writing?
Yeah.
Why? I'm glad nobody's gonna see this.
Or I've come back on some stuff and was like, damn, you wrote that back then? That was fire. Like, wow.
Yeah, word.
I didn't even know you had that. Yeah, I didn't know you had that. Like,
that's what's up. Well, I guess the lesson here is that keep on your track.
Keep writing.
Keep doing it. Keep doing it. You growing. You doing all right. But again, the other lesson there is like, you know what I'm saying? Relax.
Stay humble.
Don't be posting all your work.
Stay
Post
humble.
the work that you are 100% sure should be posted. And you know what I'm saying? Keep it. Let it cultivate. Let it curate your work. Curate who you are as an artist before you start making memes.
Maybe that stuff should have like a poetry count, like how many stuff you have posted, so we know like, oh, this is their first post, or this is your 100th post. Then it could be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't know if it's a first, he or she, they first post or not, or just so I'm trying to give them somewhat the benefit. I'm a benefit of the doubt. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, right? I see what it could be or what you didn't touch, but I will say, hey, maybe this is your first time writing, your first time posting, or whatever it might be. I don't know. So, but I wish you the best. Yeah.
Yeah. Get it. I hope you got an A on your homework. That's the 2-piece. Moving on to the last segment of the show. 5 for your eye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, word. So we hit my boy Charles with 5 words. We gave him, we're trying to keep it like somewhat themed, but somewhat random. Yeah. So for the listener, for the gods, for Kuya, for everybody, 5 for your eyes, where we give the guest poet 5 words. They got to use all 5 of the words. Charles, we gave the word entangled, wrath.
He gave me all of that.
Smash, shatter, and peace. So we gave him 5 words. So we gave Charles all the time
later.
coming up to put all those in there. And this is the 5 for your eye piece that Charles brought for us. Bless the gods.
All right. If parting is such sweet sorrow, then why does it taste hard to swallow like drinking a bottle of Jaeger? Red alert, the pain is major, cutting deeper than a razor. Feeling AC/DC, my metal's been rocked by a slayer. Deceived, I was a traitor, the take of calm. My behavior felt like the excruciating pain of labor, having a stillborn. Even though you're still gone, I still mourn. Carrying my cross with my crown of thorns. Ain't no perfect storms. All that's left is disaster. A man torn apart soon after, smashed into a million pieces. Yo, when you will drip from my reaches, drifting like the tide on beaches. Now one of these lonely creatures who listen to disconnected preachers. Salvation, it never reached us. These are the lessons life teaches. Wrath, hurt, and despair. The inner work gonna take years. Until then, I'ma end wits pulling out hairs. Ain't nothing clear. What appears is gray and murky. Guess I wasn't worthy of mercy. There's nothing inadvertent. This was inherently the adversity that I own permanently. My wounds open like surgery. Apparently, I became lifeless. Stuck in a void where I don't exist. I can only reminisce on how I miss my empress. Feeling helpless like a child. Selfish, I'm in denial. Yo, as I stand witness at my own trial, the evidence compiled documents my hostile profile since my love was exiled. Kicked out of Eden, crawling on belly like a reptile. I'll never see the light of day. Blinded by torment since you've gone away. I prayed that you stayed, but God had other reservations made. Standing by your grave with roses in my hand, feeling betrayed because we had other plans. Built a wall of agony from all my dams. I'll never be free. Stuck in purgatory until I truly understand why she was taken. Am I Job being tested by God and Satan, forsaken, debating the choices I'm making since my love was taken? Some say death is natural progressiveness. I say death is a cynical process where your feelings are disqualified, dismissed, an infinite forest of sorrow. Searching for your todays, never to find your tomorrow. I can't follow this model of locking my feelings up in a bottle. I don't need to be coddled, not asking for anyone's affection. Should just practice necromancy for my queen's resurrection. My reality's as twisted as inception. The oppression is pressing me flat, pressing me back, just a sad sack of shit. This blackjack called and it quits. I fold my soul, divided into diametric poles. I'm closed, shut down, decaying. What now? The screams inside are loud. Walking under a black cloud with no silver lining. I might not never know how to let the sun shine in. I replaced Jack Nicholson in The Shining, slowly dying, swimming in a sea of tears from all my crying. So fuck trying. What's the use? People say they'll get better. Stop your lying. Where's the proof? The truth? There isn't any. Abuse? Yeah. I'm getting that good and plenty. Collected many a penny for my thoughts. I'm bitter, soaked in salt. Forever blaming myself that the death was my fault. Caught in a web of depressing, stressing, punching at the wall to let out my aggression. Can't sleep, no resting, just wrestling with these demons. Cause in the end, no one wins. Everyone loses. We're all just dust in the wind, licking our wounds, bandaging our bruises. The facade of life continually confuses. I want the facts, but I kept getting excuses. Reality, elusive. Now my baby is gone and the story forever being conclusive. When I talk to the Reaper, I want the exclusive. While she was taken instead of me. This must be the agony that life repeatedly produces. My queen, my heart torn apart, permanent damage. As time passes, I become more passive. Why seek for peace when we all end up deceased? Nothing ever remains as is. Empty promises is my baggage. R.I.P. the day before our marriage. All I have left are the broken dreams that will never be salvaged.
Hey, see will to God. In the cuts, Pen Clique coming at you, getting it that 5 for your eye piece. We gave Charles 5 words. He just brought that fire. Oh, getting it. Where can they get at you, Charles? You got social media?
You can get at me at soulsinmotion.com. So that is my life coaching, fitness, and also, company.
Yeah, if you want to see some wild, if you want to feel lazy on a Saturday afternoon, go peep Charles's Instagram at Souls in Motion.
Yeah, Souls in Motion too.
You will feel like, damn, I gotta go hit the elliptical, and I better start lifting something. My boy doing it.
Yeah, man.
All muscles, all capoeira, all the crazy bar stuff.
Oh, the bar stuff too.
Dude, my dude holding himself upside down with one hand, drinking coffee at the same time. The fuck, man.
Yo, every time I see one of your capoeira vids, I'm like at the office, I'm drinking a coffee and I got a bagel in my hand. I'm like, damn, what am I doing with my life?
Word. And then I'll get that inspiration, dude, I could do that. And then I see Charles with his shirt off, dance around all fucking. Oh, look at me. I'm ripped and pretty. I'm so handsome. No one wants to see me dancing around Venice Beach with my shirt off.
Yeah, that's probably moving out to California, man. Give up love to LA. 365, 24/7, man.
Every day.
The weather pretty much the same. I don't gotta shovel no more snow. Gotta wait for no car to defrost. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
if you complaining about the rent in LA, like I feel you, but go outside.
Yeah.
You could go outside.
You can go outside, man.
You
Like,
can go outside whenever you want.
what's saying?
Middle
People,
of the night?
you go anywhere. You good.
Any month?
You good. No
Even
humidity.
in the rain, G.
In the rain, I have class in the rain. So
Yeah.
So you catch me out there, so you can catch on also YouTube, Souls in Motion as well too. Also host a spot every Thursday called Freedom of Speech Thursdays in Hollywood. Sabori Couture. So you can come out. It's from 8 to 10. Sign-ups at 7:30 as well. You can also catch me on Amazon. I got a book out called Poetic Expressionism. So you can get that in Kindle format too, and on Audible. So yeah, man, I'm out there.
Plugs on plugs, boy.
Yeah,
Getting it.
Man,
And
doing
Freedom
it.
of Speech is dope. Again, it's every Thursday
Dope.
night.
They've been at Freedom. They've rocked out at Freedom.
Yeah.
I have at Freedom right here. It's fam right there.
Yeah, Freedom of Speech, Sabori Cultura. It's every Thursday night. It is fire. It's one of they do a big list, y'all. They do no features, so there's always time.
Yeah.
They cut
You
the
all
comedian
special.
list. You know what I'm saying? That's my favorite when you go to a mic and they're like, you know what, y'all, we love you comedians, but you get 3. We're going to let 3 of you on.
Yo.
So if you came here with
now
5
they
comedian
vetted though.
friends,
Now they vetted.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
vetted
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Like I need to know you. Like I've had to tell like, yo, funny shit, right? So somebody, I was like, look, man, you know how this what's going. He was like, I could perform for you outside. I was like,
But no, it is a blessing though. We need there's a lot of comedy mics in LA.
Bigum's tip, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
like, I hit you outside. I get some comedy.
I got these cheeseburgers, man.
Yeah, word.
Let me just give you a few jokes. I got these cheeseburgers, man.
And I feel it, but there's a lot of comedy mics out here, and we need to keep poetry alive. We need to keep poetry cracking. We need poetry in coffee shops and schools and theaters and TV and on the internet and on podcasts. That's why we at you. So we appreciate you. Free Speech Thursday.
Thank you, man.
Kraken, thank you for being here, G.
Thank y'all for having me, man.
Thanks for coming through.
Seriously, man.
You definitely part of the
Dave,
clique.
Daniel, Hees, you know what I'm saying?
sir.
Yeah, this is love. This is fam right here. These two are phenomenal poets. Also, I would say curators within the community. Just, spreading the word with having a show and then other platforms that they also use to spread the word and build community. Because really, nobody's an island and we all do we need each other, help build each other up and take us to the next steps where we need to get to. So much love to y'all,
And
man.
everyone can connect with us at Pen Clique. I am Kuya David, the Prime Poetry Prime Minister. Holla at me at Prime Poetry LG. That's the Prime Poetry League. And you can also holla at both of us at Pen Clique, PENCLIQUE. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. We're gonna get a site popping and all that. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Get it.
Pen Clique.
You can check me at The Chubby Fat. I'm always doing that. TheChubbyFat.com. Go peep all of that we doing. We trying to make you laugh. We trying to bring you a little bit of art, a little bit of poetry, a little bit of everything. Trying to round the bases off. You know what I'm saying? So check me out at The Chubby Fat. TheChubbyFat.com. You can get at me through at Pen Clique. You can get at all of us on Facebook. All of that. All the social media. We see you. We see you.
Get at them, son.
Bless.
One.
Y'all watch the Pen Clique on YouTube, so y'all know what to do.
Like, comment, subscribe. Share, Rise, Survive.
Thank y'all.
Love y'all.